Reading Robert Jordan's What If Time, The Eye of the World, Part 21. Seguin sat by the fire with her tea, staring up at the fragment of the statue of Arthur Hawking, and went down to the Portobello. He found himself thinking of the axe he carved. He had been so proud of it once, back in Emmonsfield, before he knew what he might be willing to do with it. You hate her that much. Can you read my mind too? Like the wolves? A blind man could read your face, boy. Well, speak up. Do you hate the girl? Despite her? That's it. You are ready to kill her because you despise her always. Begging her feet, holding you back with her womanish ways. Like we never dragged her feet in her life. She always does her share. I don't despise her. I love her. Not like that. I mean, she isn't like a sister, but she around blood and dashes the ravens. Catches. If I don't know. Yes, you do. If she had to choose her way of dying, which do you think she'd pick? One can blow off your axe, or the way of the animals we saw today? I know which I'd take. I don't have any right to choose for her. You won't tell her, will you, about her bloody too? I couldn't have done it, you know, when it was already pretend, and maybe I could swagger and play as if it's different now. I don't even want to use it again. Use it. Better if I never look at this bloody thing again. No. You will use it, boy, and as long as you hate using it, you will use it more wisely than most men would. Wait. If you don't hate it any longer, then will be the time to throw it as far as you can. I'd rather the other way. Again, Pierre stared at the axe in his hand and wondered what if he wanted but then couldn't throw it away. What then? Precious. Pouring open his mouth to ask Elias that question, but that words came out, ascending from the wall so urgent that his eyes glazed over, interrupted his train of thoughts to the point that for an instant he forgot what he was going to say, forgot he had been going to say anything, forgot even how to speak. Elias' face sagged too, and his eyes seemed to peer inward and far away. And then it was gone as quickly as it had come. As soon as the veil lifted from his eyes, Elias did not pause. He sped towards the fire without any hesitation. Douse the fire. What? I said, get that fire out. No chance to hide that somebody's been here. We just have to hurry and hope. Maybe they won't bought blood and ashes, but I was sure it was the ravens. What is that? Trunks of hate? Go east and west. Find a place to hide, and I'll join you as soon as I can. If they see a wolf. Brian, what? There are a lot of men coming on horses. They came up behind the wolves, but didn't see them. They're heading for the pool. Probably they don't have anything to do with us. It's only water for mice. But Dapple says they smell wrong. The way a rabid dog smells wrong. But why should they bother us? We're supposed to be safe here. Well, there has to be someplace safe. They looked for somewhere to hide, but twilight was thickening, so it would be too dark to travel. And they were far too near to the pool. As it was, there had to be somewhere to go. Why this way? Payne trotted toward the hill, glancing over his shoulder for any sign of men who were coming, but there was nothing. Yet, thought more than once he had to stop and wait for Bella to stumble after him, picking her way carefully over the uneven ground. The closer the mare came, the more Payne thought that Egwene and the houseboat must be more tired than he had believed. Which meant that this had been a good hiding place, because they were in no condition to hunt for another. At the base of the hill, Perrin studied a massive flat rock outlined against the sky, jutting out the slope almost at the crest. There was an odd familiarity to the way the top of the huge slab seemed to form irregular steps. Despite the wearing of the centuries, when Perrin touched the stone, he could still feel four jointed columns, fingers. There were fingers. They would find shelter in Otto Hawkins' hand. Maybe some of his justice would be left there. Okay, follow me. Can't afford to. Perrin? Come on, when we can talk when we get settled. Now follow me. It's too dark to see. Dark to see, Perrin? How can you see anything? Alright. A further rock. That's what it has to be. They won't be able to pick us out against the shadow, even if they do come out this far. I lead Bella to the spot again. It was full dark, and the moon was covered by clouds, and yet Perrin could see perfectly well. He helped Egwene would not press the issue, but all the way to the shadow he could feel her eyes on his back. As he helped Egwene down from the saddle, the night broke out in shouts back towards the pool. The men were too far off to understand what they were shouting, but Perrin knew what was happening. The wolves knew. The men saw wind. They breaking up into parties to search. So many of them, and the wolves are hurt. But upon the others should be able to keep out of the way of an agent, and they don't expect us. People don't see what they don't expect. They give up soon enough and make camp. What? I'll be alright, Perrin. Perrin? And then Perrin saw. Groups of torch-carrying men now rode through the hills, bunches of 10 or 12. I could not tell how many there were. They continued to shout to each other, and sometimes there were screams in the night, the screams of horses, the screams of men. But I saw it all from more than one vantage. Crouch on the hill with Egwene and his mind rounded to the night with Dapple and Wind and Hopper, and Elias was out there too. Abruptly, Perrin realized the riders were following a pattern, that they were getting closer and closer to the hiding place he shared with Egwene and Bella. He considered running. Surely it was dark enough to hide if they kept running, but that decision was taken for him. There is something up there. Be up there. If you can understand human speech. Come down, surrender. You will not be harmed if you walk in the light. If you don't surrender, you will be killed. You have 1 minute. Alice and the wolves were still free. A distant bubbling scream marked our cloaked who had until doubled too closely. Why are the white claws so persistent? As if they hate wolves with a passion. Why did they smell wrong? Why? Perry, we can't outrun them. If we don't give up, they'll kill us. Perry? Here they come. Drop that axe. Drop it, pumpkin. For a moment, Perry stared at the lance at enough sharp stare to go completely through him. Then abruptly he shouted, "No." It was not at the horseman he shouted. They killed the wolf. One of the night, Hopper came and left the ground in a lip soaring like the eagles. The White Cloaks had only a moment to begin cursing before Hopper's just closed around the throat of the man with his lance leveled at Perrin. The wolf's momentum carried both of them off to the other side of the house. Perrin felt the man's throat crashing. Taste the blood. Hopper landed lightly, already apart from the man he had killed. His good eye met Perrin's for just a second, and the throat passed for almost a man. Run, bro. The White Cloak said upon Hopper, then pining him to death with the lances. Perrin could feel the wolf's pain. It filled him, and he screamed. Without thinking, Perrin leaped forward, screaming. Arthur was gone. The horsemen at the bunch too much to be able to use their lances, and the axe was further in his hands, while each wolf stood still. And something crashed into his head, and as he fell, he did not know if it was Hopper or himself who died. By what angle the light? I was afraid he had killed you. As his head cleared, Perrin tried to get up from the floor, sharp pain stabbing along his arm and legs to need the movement of flop. For the first time he realized he was tied, hand and foot, and Gwyn as well. That they were tied was shock enough, but there were enough ropes to hold horses. What did they think he and Egwin were? My lord, Captain. Bear is child bear. Have talents or costs for this encounter? 9 men dead, my lord. Captain, and 23 injured. 7 seriously. Alcan right, 3rd. 30 horses had to be put down. They were hamstrung. Many of the remnants are scattered. When my father saw at daybreak, my lord, Captain, but with wolves to send them on the way, it will take days to gather them all. We do not have days, child bear. Right at dawn, nothing can change that. We must be in Camlin in time, yes? What do we do to show for all this, aside from those 2 younglings? How had the wolf that was with the lot skinned, my lord, Captain? The hide should make a fine rug for my lord, Captain stand. Hopper. Hopper. Not even realizing what he was doing, Perrin growled and struggled against his bonds, the ropes dug into his skin, but they did not give. His mouth curled into a tight smile at the thought of his teeth meeting in broad throat. As the thought shook him, his smile faded, and he shook himself. He was a man, not a wolf. I do not care about wolf hides, Rux, Charred Bear. You were reporting not what we achieved this night, no? If we achieved anything. I would estimate the pack that attacked us at 50 pistol more. My Lord Captain, of that we killed at least 20, perhaps 30. Besides those two, there were at least a dozen other men. I believe we disposed of 4 or 5, but it's unlikely we will find any bodies, given the Darkfriend's propensity for carrying away the dead. All in all, this seems to be a coordinated ambush. By that raised the question of my Lord Captain? So, Jedbear, is it your considered estimate that we were attacked in a planet ambush by upward of 50 wolves? And better that half a score of Darkfriends, yes? Perhaps when you see a few more actions. But, I would say 6 or 8 wolves. Perhaps no more humans than those two. You have the true zeal, Chadbia, but no experience outside the cities. It is different in bringing the light. When streets and houses are far distant, wolves have a way of seeming more than they are in the night, and man, so I suspect that they were here for the same reason we are. There only is water for at least a day in another direction. The simplest explanation is usually the truth. You'll learn with experience. While old man was talking, Perrin cautiously reached out and fell for hours and for walls for nothing. It was as if he had never been able to feel our mind. Either they were dead or they had abandoned him. The glint of firelight on the blade of the half-moon axe got Perrin's attention and brought it back to the discussion between Bornard and Bjarne. What do you think of this? Excellently balanced, my lord. Captain, plainly made, but by a very good weaponsmith, perhaps even a master. Not a villager's weapon, my lord Captain, not a farmer's. No. My name is Jeffron Barnard. You are Perrin, I understand, but you young woman, what is your name? I'm a Gwen. just Perrin and just Gwen. But I suppose you truly are dark friends, if you wish to hide your identities as much as possible. We are dark friends. You will keep a civil tongue when speaking to an anointed of the light, or you will have no tongue. Go easy, Childbearer. Expect those to do not much of the anointment, are both Lord Captains of the Child of the Night. Please, for Childbearer's sakes, at least try not to argue or shout, yes? I will know more than that. You should walk in the light, and letting anger get the better of you won't help any of us. Ahead of the stink of men running with wolves, thought I have not seen it before. Men supposedly talking with wolves and other creatures of the Dark One. A fair business. It makes me fear the last battle is indeed coming soon. But wolves aren't. That is, wolf aren't creatures of the Dark One. They had the Dark One, at least. They had trolls and fates. And who told you that? A warder? He said, wolves hate trolls. Trolls are afraid of wolves. A warder. A creature of Tar Valon witches. What else would that sort tell you when he is a dark friend himself and a servant of the dark friends? Did not know trolls have wolves, muzzled and they can't fool wolves for. Not all of them. Some of them have horns like rams or goats or horse bits or a sort of things. I gave you every chance, and you dig yourself deeper with every word. You ran with wolves, creatures of the Dark One. You had been being acquainted with a warder, another creature of the Dark One. I doubt he would have told you what he did in passing. You boy carry a Tar Valon mark in your pocket. Most men outside Tar Valon get rid of those as fast as they can, unless they serve the Tar Valon witches. You're carrying a fighting man's weapon while you dress like a farm boy. You know, Trollocs, the Melodraw. This far sought on a few scores, and those who have traveled in the borderlands believe they are anything but stories now. Why do you not tell me the truth of how you came to be running in the night with wolves? And then Perrin surprised Egwene with a story that would have done Tom Merlin proud. He told of a young man and a woman, bored of life in the rivers, who left to seek Camlin. On the way, they had heard of the ruins of a great city, but when they found Shadowlogoth, there were Trollocs there. They managed to escape across the river Arinal, but they were so completely lost. Eventually, they fell in with a man who offered to guide them to Camlin. He told them his name was none of their business. The first they had seen of Wolves was after the children of the light had appeared. At the time, all they were trying to do was hide, so as not to be eaten by the wolves or killed by the man on horseback. Pen told the Lord Captain all that humbly and in a respectful tone, as so as not to incite Bia, and ended his story with, "If we know you are children of the light, we'd have to come to you for help." An interesting tale. There was no water in it. Oh, we met him in Baron. The city was crowded with men who had come down from the mines after the winter, and we were put at the same table and in when I talked to him for Lent of a meal. Give them back their belongings, Chadbiar. You can't. It's not allowed. Oh? Forgive me, my lord captain. I forgot myself and I humbly beg pardon and submit myself for penance. But, as my lord captain pointed out, we must reach Camlin in time, and if most of our Ramon's gone, we'll be hard pressed enough without carrying prisoners along. And what would you suggest? The penalty for Darklands is that there is no truce with the shadow, there is no mercy for Darklands. Zeal is to applaud it. But overzealousness can be a grievous fault. Remember that the tent also said, "No man is so lost, he cannot be brought to the light." Those two are young, they cannot yet be deep in the shadow, they can be led to the light. We must give them that chance. You let us go? Of course not, Chad. You might be telling the truth about being from the two rivers, but Shadow Logo? That is a name very few know, and most of them dark friends. I would think of a better story, and on the way to Amador, if I were you. Repent and renounce the Dark One. Come to the light and tell us what you know of this villainous of wolves. To that end, you will be spared. A visit to the questioners. You walk free in the light. But you, just sparing from the two rivers, you killed two of the children. For you, I fear, I give it waste in Amador.